Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl fam. How you doing? I am back with a no makeup look. This is what I came through for you today. I only used, I believe, like 14 products, which I know you're gonna be like, sis, that's still a lot of product. For me, no it's not. So I wanted to do this very kind of minimal look today on the face. It is just mostly about making the skin look flawless but not detectable that you have on makeup. Just kind of emphasizing the natural lash. I'm not using any falsies, just completely wearing mascara, and that is all I am doing for my lashes. And then doing just a pinky kind of neutral lip. So please thumbs up below if you like it. Subscribe. I love friends. I want more. And go ahead and share that video if you like it. Thanks. So if you want to see how I got this no makeup look, then just keep watching, and here we go. Peace. Okay, so we're going to jump right into this tutorial. I have already washed and moisturized and toned everything to my face. I've also conditioned my lips so they're all soft and kissable and ready to go. Again, this is going to be a no makeup look, but you can tailor it to however you want. There might be something that you can eliminate and you don't use. Do you? But this is going to be the bare minimum of what I would do to my face. So the first thing I'm going to do is prime. I'm going to be priming with the Milani Prime Shield. This is mattifying and to minimize pores. So I'm going to put this in areas where I get oily, as well as where my pores are large, which is typically the center of my face. Now, because I'm trying to keep this very simple, I am not going to set the primer with powder, because I guess I'm going to let all of the natural oils and juices and berries in my face come through eventually. We're gonna go on to eyebrows. Now, normally when I do a tutorial, I try to have my eyebrows already done, because it takes me a minute to get my eyebrows together, because as you can see, yeah, they're a little sparse, they're a little thin. This is as thick as they grow. My eyebrows be doing the most. So I'm going to try is the key word, to make them look natural, as natural as they gonna get for me. So the first thing I'm going to do is taking this Revlon eye pencil. This is the Revlon Color Stay brow pencil in the color dark brown. It has a little spoolie on one end and then the pencil on the other. I'm going to first outline a shape for my eyebrows to make it look like I actually have an eyebrow. Okay, so I'm first going to start on the bottom like I always do, but I'm going to kind of focus it more up in the hair so that that line is more disguised. And then I'm going to kind of feather stroke when I get out here to the tail, so it's not as harsh. And then instead of starting on the inner part of my eyebrow up at the top, I'm going to kind of start feather strokes again where the hair starts, and just sticking to the actual shape of my brow. And then wherever there's little sparseness, lightly fill it in. So now it looks like I actually have eyebrows. And so with the other end, with the spoolie, just going to take that and comb out anything where it might look harsh. And then just go back through lightly to fill in any gaps. That's one eyebrow. Let's see if we can get the other one to look the same way. Now, once I have my eyebrows on and they look somewhat realistic and filled in, I'm going to then take this Milani Easy Brow Tinted Brow Gel. This is in the color medium brown. This is going to help where they're not as dark and as harsh, as well as this brow gel has little fibers in it, which is going to also help me look like I have a little bit of more of a fluffy brow. So I'm just going to run that through my eyebrows just so they don't look as harsh. Bada bing, bada boom. Now, since I still like them to look put together and clean, I am still going to clean them up with concealer. But instead of using like a brightening concealer to highlight the brow bone, I'm going to actually use a concealer that is my skin tone. This is the NYX Above and Beyond Full Coverage Concealer, and I use it in the color Nutmeg, which is very close to my actual skin tone. So I just take a little flat concealer brush, and like I said, I'm going to clean up under the brow as well as up on top of my brows, just to clean them up. But you don't want that halo brow where it's obvious that you've done your brow. Boom. And then with my finger, since we have that primer on, I'm just going to smooth out the edges so that that concealer blends in to my skin. And so there, so you have a sculpted brow, but it's not super obvious that the brows are done. They just look like you have really clean brows. Okay, so this is the difference between the two. Now I'm going to go ahead and do this one. Now this is also really good too if you're like in between those brow appointments and your brows may not be as fleeky as they normally are. This is a really good tip as well, just so the eyebrows still look put together, but they don't look super done. So now that we have the eyebrows done, we're going to move on to the skin. Now, again, I am a full coverage drag queen. Normally when I do makeup, I pack it on. But since we don't want to be detectable, we still want to look like this is my skin, but better. We're trying to look like we're not wearing any makeup. I'm not going to go for a full coverage. So what I'm going to be wearing today is the CoverGirl Clean Matte. This is a BB cream, and this is for oily skin. It has kind of a medium coverage. It's got pretty good coverage for it to be a BB cream, but it's not as heavy as some of my other foundations that I do wear. And I am in the color 560 Deep. And so we're going to put that on. I'm also going to go over my eye as well, so that my eye obviously matches the rest of my skin. I'm just taking a Real Technique sponge and just pouncing that on the skin. You can put extra if there's any areas that you have a little bit of discoloration and that needs a little bit more coverage. And I'm just really taking my sponge and just really making sure that I'm really pressing that into the skin. Now once we have that on, I am going to conceal a little bit, but I'm not going to use a bright concealer that I would normally use. I'm going to use a concealer that's a little bit closer to my skin tone, maybe like one shade lighter than my skin tone. And for that, I'm going to be using the Maybelline Fit Me concealer. This is in the color 30 Cafe. And I'm only going to conceal underneath my eyes is where I'm going to place it. So as you can see, it is very close to my skin tone. This is not going to be brightening. This is just going to give us a little bit more coverage under the eye. Now if you did want something a little bit more brightening, you can add one that's a little bit lighter on top. But again, if you don't want it to look like you have on makeup, then stick to something that's closer to your skin tone. So I'm going to take my same sponge and I'm going to press that into the skin. This is just to add a little bit of extra coverage to the face. So if you have dark circles or anything like that under your eyes, a little bit of discoloration, this is just going to give you that coverage for that your foundation may not have done. I'm not going to be doing any of the powder, contour, or bronzing with products. I'm just only going to use a cream product just to add a little bit of dimension into my face. With this, I'm using the Black Opal Cream Foundation Stick in the color Suede Mocha. And I'm just going to add a little bit toward the back here and on the sides, just to give me a little color into my face. And once I have those down, I'm going to take a e.l.f. blush brush. I like it because it's really dense and it's really soft, and I'm just going to buff that out. And like I said, this is just going to give us a little bit of color back to our face, a little bit of dimension, so that we're not flat from the foundation and from the concealer, since we didn't do anything brightening. And then whatever's left on your brush, you can take that around the top of the forehead, and I'm just using little small circles to just buff it out and going back and forth for my contour. And you can take whatever's also left on your brush if you want to run it under your chin. You can do that. Maybe a little bit down the sides of your nose. Now since I'm oily and I've used all of these cream products, I do have to set my makeup. If you have drier skin or kind of normal skin, you might be able to get away with not having to set your makeup. If you like a more of a dewy look as well, you can do that as well, where you don't have to set your makeup. But again, since I am oily and I do not want my face to slide away throughout the day, I'm going to set this. I'm going to set my makeup with the Black Opal Deluxe Finishing Powder. This is an oil control formula, and I am using this in the color Dark. I'm going to set all over my face. This is using the Big Fluffy Morphe M551 brush. I'm just going to tap that into the powder, tap off the excess, and then I'm just going to swirl it all over my face. Now as you can see, this is setting my face, but at the same time it's still making it look very skin-like, and it's not looking like I have any product on the skin. Now that we have all of the products in place for the face, this is what it's looking like. Like I said, it's meant to be your skin, but a little bit better. As you can see, you can still see some of my blemishes through. That is totally fine. Again, if you want to look like you're not wearing any makeup, then you gotta let some of your imperfections show. Okay, sis, don't worry about it. Now that I have all of that done, I am still going to add a little bit of color into my face. So I'm going to add a cream blush. This will help melt into those products as well. I'm using the ColourPop Super Shock Cheek. This is in the color Flushed. This was with the collaboration that they did with Karushi. This is a very pretty, kind of got like little gold kind of reflex in it, but it's a very skin-like tone. And I'm using my sponge again. I'm just tapping that into the product, and all I'm going to do is just to tap it on my face. And you can build this to your liking. The last thing that we're going to do for face is I am going to add a little bit of highlight. I'm not going to do my obnoxious highlight like what I would normally do, where I like to be beaming for the gods. Now, as you can see, even in just this light, this might be enough sheen for somebody, but for your girl, I need just a little tight, just a skosh more of a pow. I don't want it to be super obvious again, since I don't want to look like she got makeup, but at the same time, I just need some. I wouldn't feel right if I didn't have on some type of a highlighter. That's just me though. So for me, I'm going to be using the Black Radiance Artisan Color Bake Bronzer. This is in the color Ginger Snap, and it's just a nice goldeny color. It's not something that's super obvious on my skin, and I'm going to be putting it on with a Morphe M510 brush. I'm just going to kind of put it in there, tap off any excess so it's not super a lot of product, and I'm only going to kind of put it on the upper parts of my cheekbones. Only at the top. You can do a little bit through your brow if you want to. I'm not adding any extra product to my brush. It's just whatever was left. I'm putting that on my brow bone. I'm going to tap a little bit more. Put that toward the center of my forehead. Just a little bit on the top of the nose. And whatever's left on the chin. And what you can do, if you get a little overzealous with it and you feel like it's too much, you can always take your sponge, press that highlight into the skin, and it'll help to tone it down. So this is the skin completely done. Now I have little beauty marks on my face that my makeup tends to kind of hide, so I am going to bring those back. I don't know if that made a world of a difference, but I just like the fact that I can see my beauty marks. This is a piercing, disregard that, but I do have like this small beauty mark. I don't know where it came from. I noticed it like within the last year or so, and I was like, where'd you come from? But I like you. And then I've had this one on this side of my face since I was like a little girl. You probably didn't need all of that information. I'm gonna back out of the camera now because you can really see up my nose. I do apologize. So the last thing I'm going to do, I'm not going to add any eyeliner, any eyeshadow. I'm not going to add any of that to my face. All I'm going to do is add some mascara. I'm not going to do lashes because real talk, your girl doesn't normally wear lashes. Even when I do like full-fledged makeup, I typically do not wear lashes. I struggle with them. I think it's because I don't wear them for real. It's really hard for me to put them on. But lately in my makeup tutorials, strictly for here on YouTube, I have been putting them on because I think I've been brainwashed by other beauty gurus that in order for a look to be complete, you got to have on these dramatic, flyaway, fluffy, voluminous, beautiful eyelashes. Even though your girl, for real, don't wear them. So you finna get my naked eyes. Like I said, I am just going to add some mascara. For that, I am using the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise mascara. I'm going to be using this. I'm just going to throw a little bit on my top and bottom lashes. I'm going to kind of focus it more toward the base of my lashes so that they look really thick. So I'm placing it at the base, wiggling, and then pulling up. And I'm just doing a little bit on the bottom because I don't want it to be super obvious again that I have on mascara. So that kind of shows you the difference. Mascara, no mascara. Again, you don't have to have on some thick, luxurious, flowery lashes. Be confident in your real lashes, sis. Just throw in a shit ton of mascara and you can do it. Boom. So the last thing that we're going to do to make sure that everything is put together, everything's melted together, I am going to set my face. With that, I'm going to use the Mario Badescu Skincare Facial Spray. This is the one with the rose water. So just going to spray that all over my face. Okay. Now once that's dry, the last thing that we're going to do is obviously lips. So the first thing I'm going to do, I want something very natural, something very neutral on the lips. I'm going to first outline. I'm using the MAC lip pencil in Cork. And once I have that, I just kind of rub my lips together to just kind of distribute the product a little bit. I have like a natural kind of darker outline on my lips anyway, so this kind of mimics how my real lips are. And then after that, I'm going to go on top and fill in with the ColourPop Lippy Stick. This is in the color Lumiere 2. It's just a nice pinky, mauve-y, neutral kind of color. You can take your finger, kind of tap the two together. And the last thing I'm going to do is just to add a little bit more of a kind of a lighter pink to it. I'm going to add the Wet n Wild Mega Last Liquid Catsuit. Is this color. Again, it's kind of a neutral kind of mauve shade, and this is in the color Rebel Rose. I just kind of add it to the center of the lips. And there is the finished product. So this was my no makeup, I'm gonna say challenge to myself, because this was really hard for me to use this minimal of product. Like I said, this might be still a lot of makeup for somebody, but for me, this was nothing. So hope you enjoyed it.